What's the key to this stopping this Rams offense?
Playing our football. They move. They got a good quarterback. Two of the top receivers in the game with the young guy, Puka Nacua, and obviously Kupp. So they pose a challenge whoever they're going against. Stafford's definitely looking for them, and they're open, I guess, all the time, looking at the stats and watching the tape. So,
what stands out about Puka's game this year?
What he's doing is it's tremendous. It's crazy, to be honest. And I say that because you just don't, when guys come into the league, you kind of, when Justin Jefferson comes into the league, it's a guy you've heard about at LSU. Jamar Chase, the guy you heard about, and just those types of guys that came in and had early success as young players. You kind of just, you knew they can play some ball. And for him to just come into this league, and do the things he's been doing is tremendous, being that, it's surprising to everybody but him. And that's just the number one thing that surprises me, is just because it's not a guy that you would pinpoint coming into this year that, he can possibly win rookie of the year. But, the things that he's doing is right up the par with doing that.
And people haven't figured him out yet. Typically when you put enough tape out there.
I don't think it's really much to figure out. He's just a hard-nosed football player, and you can see it when he's blocking, when he gets the ball in his hands after the catch. And it's a lot of times I see on tape when he's getting targets, he's covered, and he's just making a catch. So there's not really much you can coach your players up to do. I guess it's knock the ball down, because he's getting covered and he's still making the catches. So like I said, he's just doing some tremendous things, being that he's 7 games into his rookie year, and he's already putting up these types of numbers. So it's amazing.
What's the mindset of this team coming off the bye? Y'all recharged in this stretch y'all got ahead?
I'm definitely recharged. I feel good. I feel healthier, and I'm just ready to go. And I feel like that's the same thing with everybody. A couple of guys are banged up, and having that week off to really just step away from football, refocus, recharge, just get your mind on the things that we have to do moving forward to be a better team than we were in this this first 6. So I think this was beneficial. We usually have that late bye, but I think this bye came at the right time for us as a team. At the point that we're at, that it'll be very beneficial for us.
How big is it to finally get some games at home, 5 of your next 7?
It's going to be huge. It's huge. The numbers show that we're a better team at home, so it's time to go, put the numbers to test. And
why y'all so good at home?
I can't really speak on it. Maybe it's the fans. Maybe it's just feeling comfortable being at home. But I can't really pinpoint what it is. But like I just said, the numbers show it. I feel like we're the same team away or home, but the numbers obviously show that.
Mike talked about letting y'all stay in your own beds at home. The hotel is there, but y'all can stay at home and sleep in your own beds. That's unusual. That's different from a lot of places, because they like to keep y'all together night before games. Just talk about what that feels like, being able to stay at home.
It feels good. I get to be at home with my kids, my family, and sleeping in my own bed. So that's something that's definitely been different. Through my career. Being at Minnesota and in Detroit. We never had anything like this, and it just goes to show that Coach trusts us as a team. To do the right things. When we have that little time after we do our practice on Saturday, to get ready, get our mindset right for that game on Sunday. And it's something that's been tremendous for me, being an older guy, and being able to be around my family, throughout the whole entire Saturday.
Who's in charge of the curfew when you're at home?
I was about to ask that. Do they know Dad has a hard
my fiance is in charge of curfew at home when it comes to, it's for all of us. Me and all of my sons. She tells us when it's time to get in the bed, when it's time to go to sleep. So we're just following suit.
What's it been like for you stepping back into that defensive coordinator again?
It's not been anything different than whether I wear the green dot or not. That's always just a role that DQ feels like I have to feel, whether I have the green dot on and I'm calling the plays or not. Just being that guy for the defense that speaks up, being that guy that when things aren't going as good, we got to call a meeting and pick things up. I've always been that guy since I've got here, whether I'm had the green dot or not. So it's not really much of a change that since I'm back calling plays.
Is there a challenge wearing the green dot at your position? Who was the guy in Baltimore that used to do that? You have to come up, secure the line in the middle linebackers. Waddle.
It's not really much of a challenge. It becomes a challenge when, say I'm covering a deep route, and then I got to get back to get the call to the guys. Running back to get it to them is the biggest challenge. But other than that, it's not much of a challenge. I communicate play to play anyway, so just getting the guys a call. Once I get it to the linebackers, they're doing all the communication with the front guys, so I just have to get it to somebody, and then they're going to echo the call.
McCarthy talked a lot about avoidable penalties going into the bye. What's something that y'all can kind of work on to avoid those things?
Just being a smarter individual, and then being a smarter football team. You got to understand that you're putting the team in a disadvantage. When we have these pre-snap penalties where a guy may be offsides, before the ball's even snapped in the neutral zone and things like that. For me personally, it's just just getting away from that gray area. You don't want to be in that gray area. You don't want to leave it up to the refs to make a call. Whether you feel like it shouldn't have been called or not. You just want to get away from that gray area and try to just play as clean a game as possible, to where you take the game out of the ref hands, because they're going to make decisions and make calls that you're not going to agree with all the time, and a lot of people aren't going to agree with it, but it's just a part of this game.
The Rams? Go ahead.
After Stafford played for a long time in Detroit, had some lean years. As you've gotten older in this league, can you appreciate the kind of quarterback he is and those kinds of things?
I definitely appreciate. I played with him in Detroit.
Yeah.
I appreciate the type of dog he is, the type of person that he is. Just having that year with him and getting to know him some. He's one of those quarterbacks that can really sling it, and he's confident. He's that way in practice. He's that way on game day, and you can see it. There's no way guys know the ball is going to 10 and 17, and he's still able to, when they're covered, he's putting that ball where it needs to be, where only those guys can catch it. So I have a lot of respect for his game, being that I played with him, and then also just the things that he puts on tape. It's just things you can't coach.
Like he's a real quiet guy, but does he have a quiet swag about him?
Oh, he definitely does. Like I said, just for the simple fact that he knows he can make every throw in the book, and he just goes out and show that. He can do the no-look pass. Everybody's so fascinated with Mahomes doing it, but I've watched him do it. In games in Detroit, and he's a guy that can really sling it and can really put the ball where it needs to be.
What's the biggest dog moment you saw from Stafford when you were teammates of his?
Have to be Atlanta. We make they go score. It was a Todd Gurley play where he runs it. We're trying to let him score, and they're telling him not to score. He ends up scoring, and we get the ball back to Matt Stafford. I think we had like a minute and something left, like a minute 15, and the rest is history from there. He went down and did what he had to do, and he showed us that, like, I'm really him, and that's the moment that I have with him as a teammate that showed me that this guy is really who he says he is. And going against him, he showed in Detroit. When I was in Minnesota, he had a game where he threw like 5 touchdowns, and that's on the opposite side, where I'm like, I wish he wasn't him, but playing with him, he's definitely one of those guys that can make every throw.
The Rams, this is a game where you don't need to wonder what kind of personnel grouping they're in. It's 11. When there's that type of game, what is that? How does that change things or not change things? Like, what's that like when it's so consistent?
It doesn't really change much for us. Communication is going to have to be at the highest level. They move guys around. They put 17 in different spots, motions, jets. Kupp the same way, put him in different spots, motions, jets, and then you have Tutu Atwell, a speed guy. They're going to move him around and try to get him open, create mismatches. So it's not really much that's going to change for us. It's just our communication has to be at a high level, the same way that it needs to be every week.
Jayron, going back to the home thing for a second, you were asked about playing in front of the home crowd and stuff. How much does crowd noise and stuff factor into game day for you, and especially now as a communicator on the defense?
It gets tough sometimes, especially when the stadium is rocking. I have to kind of put my hands up to my ears so I can hear the call. But, for the most part, it's huge. It gives us a sense of security when it comes down to when our crowd is going crazy and those guys can't communicate. It's hard just for us to communicate with each other side by side. So I know it's definitely a huge advantage, having those guys over there trying to call plays, trying to get communication down. And, you got a play clock that's running, and if you can't get that communication down within that, that helps us tremendously with, that's the extra 5 yards that we gain, and it just allows us to play balls to the wall football and get to go get them when we know, they're in longer distance.
You guys play a lot of road games in front of Cowboys fans too that get loud. Maybe a dumb question, but is crowd noise just a constant for you guys? I mean, is it always going to kind of be there?
Yeah, it's always going to be there, especially when we're playing good. I've heard times where it wasn't there, and we had a lot of fans there, but when we're playing good ball, it's always going to be there. So, it's, for us to get the fans into it, we have to play good ball, and that's just all it is to it.